Good afternoon, Ms. Stuckey. And I don't know who else might see this, but just in case, I wanted to clarify before I got started that this is my actual research presentation. I submitted my final presentation accidentally in week 10, not really paying attention or understanding where we were at. So this is my research presentation for week 10 that I'm doing in week 11. So just to get started, the topic that I selected was social media impact on fourth wave feminism. Some of the research I conducted for this was I wanted to kind of do like a timeline effect. So I wanted to provide the beginning, middle, and kind of like the ending. So the beginning, I kind of put kind of going to talk about what feminism is and what feminism means to me. I want to talk about when some of the first feminism acts or movements started, and how they kind of started and where they started at. Then I'm going to kind of move through the second and third wave and move straight to the transition into the fourth wave feminism in the early 1990s when technology started to come out, social media, you had your MySpace and stuff like that, but Facebook and Instagram and all those other things weren't really created yet. Then I did some research on the Me Too movement, the Trina Burke movement, and how from 2006, how her movement started, but it didn't really get a lot of headway until 2017 when Alyssa Milano brought the Me Too movement back when she accused Harvey Weinstein of sexual misconduct. So how from 2006 to 2017, how that really made a big change with the social media and how that kind of boomed and where that went as far as is concerned. And then just to kind of sum up that timeline is some of the other hashtag events and movements that has happened with feminism, and I'll kind of go through those and explain through those what those were and how those took effect and what were the outcomes of those actual those movements. Um, let's see. Reason why I selected this topic because I've never actually considered myself a feminist. I've actually never really considered the feminist movement, really paid attention to it. I'm one of the I won't say naive. I don't pay attention to a lot of those things. I feel like a lot of those things either don't affect me or don't pay attention because I'm so used to those things that I don't think it's like a feminist issue or something that it's like other people are going through. It's just the normal for me. So I really selected this topic because when the Me Too movement did come out, I did pay attention to that movement and never really thought of it as a feminist movement. I just kind of thought of it as a movement. Then in taking this class, really discovered that a lot of these things that I've gone through and I've experienced are other things that other women do go through, and that it is an issue. Um, Surprisingly, that it's an issue that needs to be addressed, and it has been addressed, and nothing has really changed. So from the time, so really this Me Too movement really really shed a light on a lot of things, and there was movement with that. There was the accusations where people were fired and people were, indicted or whatever the case may be with this particular movement. Um, I chose to do a video recording like I'm doing now. I think I'm better at speaking. I've done blog posts before. I've never actually done a podcast. That was an interesting idea, but I think video recording, just kind of talking, is the best form of communication for myself. So I just really decided to do video recording. It's a little easier and it gets my point across just because of the way the timeline would kind of be hard to condense that into like a blog or even a podcast. So this way I can just kind of talk and do what I need to do. Um, this topic was fairly easy. I don't want to say it was a really hard topic because as soon as you type in social media movements or feminist movements, like they're all over the place. I guess it was just really more or less putting them in the timeline, like what came first, what were the outcomes of these movements? Were there any outcomes? Were they positive or negative outcomes for these movements? And then kind of putting them into play. Um, I don't want to say it was more challenging, but like the ones that were out of the United States, I did post a few of those, like the Bring Back Our Girls and the new oh gosh, I don't remember what I put in there originally. I'm sorry, but you know, I did look up those two, and those weren't really hard, but it was nice to see and add in there that not everything is just based in the United States. Not a lot of these problems just happen here. They happen all over the world with women all over the world. And also really the one to put that out there and shine the light on, like social media has made this such a broad subject that everybody can really see what's going on all over the place and come together and make things happen and make a movement. Um, what I found challenging more so was I wish I could have compared the audiences a little better from when first, second, third wave feminism and feminist movements happened, how the word got out to meet here or to be a part of this, and how many actually came out versus now how we get our word out and how many people congregate to a certain area, and it's literally thousands. We had the women's march. I mean, thousands of women and men both come out, but it's so much easier to get our messages and words across and invitations across. And I really wish I could have captured that and put that more into this final project. But unfortunately, I did not get that much information. But I think I did a pretty decent job as far as the timeline was concerned. Um, let's see. So just to kind of conclude, social media really has shined a light on feminism and feminists. Social media has provided a platform for everyone, and not just feminist movements, for every movement out there, but just for the topic of feminism and the feminist movements. It really gave women a voice, and it gave the, I don't want to call us ordinary, but women that do not have a lot of power, that aren't politicians, like I stated in my final project, that aren't celebrities. It gave us women that are average women that goes to work and, you know, goes to school, whatever the case may be, and it put us all in the same category. And it's like, hey, I go through this too, and this person over here says, hey, I go through this too, and it's not just happening with people that have a lot of money, it's happening to all of us. So that was my big takeaway. It was eye opener for myself, like, oh, these things aren't normal, these things should not be normal. I just considered them normal, and I've just been going through my everyday life like, this is what it is. Catcalling and stuff like that. It is what it is. Harassment on the job, things of that nature. And it's not supposed to be that way. So that was really an eye opener for me, and I really appreciated doing this particular assignment for myself. So I hope you all enjoyed. And again, sorry for the confusion for the video. Bye.